All right, welcome to another episode of Tactical Tuesday. Today was a very special week. We had a couple new participants show up. We got Craig, solitaire player. We've got Shinji from Japan. The time slot is his morning tomorrow. Really odd. Both players had great input into the scenarios. Shinji had some ASL insight that he shared with us. Craig is a solitaire, I don't know if I said solitaire player. Plays each game three times or so, and he's played a lot of scenarios, but he just played them solitaire. So we've got a solitaire player, we've got another player with a little bit ASL experience, maybe a lot, helping us join and helping us learn. And we also have the regulars that show up. So lots of new faces and lots of great ideas going on in this one here. This is I think this is kind of a crazy gem. It's like a cryptogram of a scenario. You've got little bits and pieces, little clues here and there about how to approach the scenario. Because every scenario, I mean, you play game after game after game after game. It's like, it's the same old crap, right? Nope. You really got to just slow down and just not, instead of just jumping into the next game and pushing pieces and getting it blasted, slow down, try to look at the scenario, say, okay, the designer put in 2 AT guns. They happen to be the same AT gun. Why not a big one? Why not a small one? Why not a infantry firepower equivalent weapon? You'll see a lot of mix of weapons. This one's happen to have the exact same guns. Interesting. 2 of them, mind you. Usually there's 1 and 1. 5 Sherman tanks. 3 different types of Sherman tanks. 3 different types of Sherman tanks. And why? You scratch your head. Okay, well, why do I have to pick out? I mean, I gotta find these damn tanks. Why can I just use the same one? Nope. When you look at them, you'll find out why. You'll find out the purpose for these specific tanks. Victory conditions. Always important. Always important. Focus on the victory conditions. The Americans are not here to fight. The Americans are here to get the hell off the board. If they can get off the board by fighting, then you have to assign certain troops to fight, certain troops to disengage, to get off the board. You don't have a lot of time. You might have a prep fire, and that's about it. So you got to pick and choose. These guys are going off. These guys are covering. You got to decide which ones are which. How am I getting them off? Well, that's when you crack open the vehicle notes, ordnance notes, and you do some more reading. You're not done reading. You read the rule book 3 or 4 times. Guess what? MMP giving you the vehicle and ordnance notes. More reading, more homework. Don't worry about it. Most of it's historical data. Read the notes. What does note N say? What does note O mean? What does note A mean? Read them. Most of the time they don't apply. Some of them are very important. Gotta read them all the time. Gotta read them all the time. You'll get to know them. Don't worry about it. So this one here, I'm very pleased to introduce the Russian ASL group. They submitted 3 files to review, along with Craig and Steve's file that we reviewed. They added a lot of input in terms of analyzing the scenario and breaking it down, different strategies the players used. I think 2 sets of players, 2 sets of games, they tried to use one strategy. The other game, they both used the other same strategy. They used the same strategy together. One was successful, one was not. So it's very interesting that you've got an array of different ways of approach the game. Some were successful, some were not. And why? Why were they successful? It's not always dice rolls. It's not always dice rolls. But sometimes it is. Short scenarios can be that way. Anyway, this is a very nice scenario. I really didn't think too much about it. I think, standard scenario run off. Nope. Break it down. Look at all the details. We go into the details of why things are what they are. And then, of course, we throw in some routing issues. We throw in some attack issues, order of movement, extremely important in this one, and we go over that as well. So buckle up. The first 30 minutes is essentially setting up the tone for what you need to do in the scenario. So what does the German do? What avenues, if the Germans are firing on 2 units, can they both make it off? Are they both threats to, pursue the victory conditions? We throw that in there as well. So if you want to get to the meat of it, you can skip the first intro, about 30 minutes, but I wouldn't. I would step into that and get some general conversation overall about the entire game. So that way you'll have a good background, good solid background in continuing the discussion and incorporating that into your ASL gameplay. All right, let's get started. Craig's a newer player playing lots of solitaire.
Excellent.
And so this is kind of like perfect. I mean, we still have a giant array of things here. And if you guys don't know Mark and John and Scott, then you know, Mark and John have been on forever. Scott's been pretty recent, a couple months, and you know, everyone brings something different to the table, which is this is like a perfect combination of people. So I think Scott's a big ASL player. Mark's played both. John's played SK for a while, and so great combination. So what the scenario that we're looking at here is ripples in the pond. S30. It's on the website. The victory, the entry, well, I'll go with the entry point. So the victory conditions are the Americans win immediately. So not end time, it wins immediately upon exiting 10 victory points, and then it breaks down what your victory point totals can be from. And it says at least 6 victory points, of which must be from armor off the east edge of board U, which is the one on top, between Q3 and Q9. And again, we were talking with Shinji and Craig about this right before you guys popped on. So each squad's worth 2, which is normal. Each half squad's 1. Each single man counter is worth 1 plus 1 for each negative. So that's the typical solution. So 9 minus 1 leaders are worth 2 points. 8 0 leaders are worth 1. 6 1s are worth 1. So and then each AFV in this case, unlike ASL, each AFV is worth 3 points. And so And so to exit 6 victory points off of the map, you need at least 2 vehicles to be gone. It doesn't matter how much infantry you get off, 2 vehicles must be gone. Now, you could win by exiting 4 vehicles and 0 infantry, but 6 of those points, which means, you know, 3 points per vehicle, must be armor. So you can't lose more than 3 vehicles, otherwise you instantly lose. And again, with the different replays, it's a different variety. Now, let's go down to the scenario special rules before we go to the OB. Scenario special rule 1, which really sets the tone for the scenario, and this is where you really break down scenario. Due to soggy ground, the American tanks may only use a maximum of half of their printed movement points per movement phase. So everyone's just got half. You know, it's like mud. And AFE expending half of its printed MP when entering woods, which is like, so if you've got the M4A3E2, the 12, if he expends 6 to go into woods, it's considered to have spent all of it for bog purposes. So because that's all of its available movement points. And so therefore, if you want to go into woods and expend half, then he could enter a woods hex by expending 3 movement points. And so you have to take that into you might have to take that into consideration when looking at the scenario from the Americans' perspective, as well as the Germans' perspective. So the Americans enter on this particular map. I think Craig's marked it by the blue arrows. They can enter those locations. Infantry movement is not affected, only armor movement. And so, given that, if the armor wants to get up on that hill, how far can we get up on that hill? With the armor comes right on, like, let's say there's a piece of armor in G6. I'm going to clone this guy here. I'm going to move him over to G6. How far up the hill can he make it by using the scenario special rule? So he comes on for 1, right? And let's say he goes here for 2. How much does it cost to go up a hill? 4 plus COT, right? Unless you're going up a road.
Right. Yeah. So it'd be 5. Yeah, 5 to get
so
up
there.
Is anybody having problems seeing the counters?
This should be 661.
That's what I've got. Vassal 661. Vassal. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Sorry. All right. I was in an odd state. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
So it's 1 2. So if he moves 1 2, he has to expend 5 to go up there, and he doesn't have enough movement points because he only has 6. So you'd have to go 1, and this would be 6 right here. So pretty much if you go up the hills, it's pretty much going to be most of your available MP. Doesn't mean you can't go up there, but it will take a lot of your MP to go up there. Now the infantry is going to be 1, 3, 4. So the infantry is not going to make a difference. So taking that into consideration, you have to kind of put that into your game plan. Again, Craig's not here to describe his game plan, but we're just gonna go through the log. So tanks can't move fast. Otherwise it'd be this scenario would be really easy, right? Because he's got 2 AT guns, he's got a couple guys with Panzerfaust, he's got to roll for availability. So for all intents and purposes, he could just blow. All of his tanks can essentially exit on turn 1 if he had 14 movement points. So these are just burn down the road, go on the other side, just 1 turn he's off. So that's probably why they added that scenario special rule in there to make it a little bit interesting. So again, we need to exit on that top right side, and the Germans are here. The Germans do have 2 anti-tank guns, 75Ls, that are hidden, and then you can click on the units there to see what type of machine guns they have, and so on and so forth. So what
was the area the Germans had a choice of setting up in?
The Germans, at least 2 hexes away from any south or west edge of the playing area. So the south edge would be down on the bottom, where the Americans are down here, and the west where the Americans are on the left-hand side. So the left and bottom. So they have to set up at least 2 hexes from that location. And otherwise, technically, if they set up, technically all their infantry can just blanket the area coming in and just Panzerfaust everything that's coming on, and it would just be a turkey shoot at that point. So it kind of gives the Americans a little bit of leeway of getting on the map. So semi. So now, given that remember, we have always focused on the victory conditions. This is a very short scenario of 4.5 turns. So the Americans have 5 turns. The Germans only have 4 turns. So given the status that the Americans have to enter between those 2 blue arrows, A2 and I6, that's where the Americans will start his attack. The Americans only have 6 squads, 1 bazooka. The bazooka's only going to be good against pretty much a building, so it's kind of extraneous, but could be useful. And then he's got 5 tanks, of which 2 have to go off. So in this instance, you think to yourself, what's your initial thoughts of the movement point reduction? I mean, you've got 7, 7.5, and 6 is how far your tanks can move. So pretty much they kind of move like infantry unless they're on the road. So they're moving pretty slow. Can't go really far. The Germans, this is 44, so the Germans do have Panzerfausts. And so that might be an issue. That might be an issue. So you have to take that into account. And your large target, so it's another thing you might have to worry about. So, and he's got the 2 hidden guns. Now, based on this particular scenario, where do you think his guns might be, and how do you think the Americans should approach it? Typically, I mean, they could be anywhere, right? So, where would you anticipate the guns being in this scenario, since you have to exit off up the upper right?
U3.
U3? Where's U3? U3? Right here? That's a good spot, right? It kind of catches an area down here, has line of sight down that way, and he's got some line of sights through between those trees there. And another one, maybe along that tree line. There might be one along this tree line here. You do have concealment terrain in the grain. You do have concealment terrain as the brush, and technically he could set up here on D2 and C3. So he could be right up here in the front. And why would you think that he might want to set up a gun here? Why would you set up a gun here? This is something I might do. I might set up a gun like in D2, or probably D2. Why do you think I would set up a gun up there on the hill? Any advantages?
Well, the tanks would have to stop if they move up the hill, and you'd have a shot at them.
Right, and you're hidden. Most of the time, the tanks probably aren't. First of all, the tanks probably aren't going to enter that terrain type. Why is that? Why don't you think they're going to enter the brush?
Brushes 2.
Right. And scenario special rule 1 says you don't have a lot of movement points.
Right.
So it's just much easier to skirt around it, especially since he's going to go 1 here and then 6 here, 7. He honestly can't even enter C3. Only one of the Americans' vehicles can only enter C3. So he's either entering C4 or C2. So, he's not getting very far. The same thing over here, not getting very far. And you have some infantry to support it in terms of Panzerfaust or whatever like that. You might bait him into going up there.
Yeah, and if he climbs the other hill, you've got a good shot at him.
Yeah, and most of these shots over here are going to be flank shots because most likely he's going to be facing the other direction. Now, what's the to kill? This is important. When you're facing an enemy anti-tank guns, what's his potential of killing you? So 75L gun armor piercing has what for the kill number?
17.
17.
17.
17. So
70 is not enough.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a 9. It was a 9. It's a 9 against this guy here. 11s, as long as you hit the turret, it turns into an 8. What about the tank right here? The M4A3. What about that tank?
That one's a little tougher.
That one's a lot tougher.
Yep.
And I just noticed that when I was talking with Craig and Shinji. 18. So, what might that indicate in your OB?
That's your lead tank.
That's your lead tank. Is this guy ever going to become CE?
Probably not.
Probably not, because you need him to go forward and start getting busy with people. So you obviously want to avoid flank shots with this guy, but forward shots, this guy's essentially a Panther compared to that 75. You only have one of them, and he's your slowest tank. So wherever you want to drive that guy is going to be very important. So let's go through again. We'll come back to this tank. We'll come back to this tank here. Because I just recently noticed that it had 18 armor. I didn't see how everyone used this specific tank in their game. So let's just for like an aside, we could track this tank and see how this tank is being used. See if it's being used differently from these tanks over here. It's got 3. Yeah, it's got the one. I wonder why this one's so different. Now, what's special about our tanks? What's the number one thing we should know in this scenario? What do the Americans bring to the table? We have to exit
smoke.
Yeah, we have to exit the map, and there's lots of open ground. So what does that mean? We better have some smoke, or this is going to be a killing ground because our morale is garbage. Our morale is garbage. I don't care if you're firing 2 -1, 2 even, 6 morale is nothing. So if you want to right-click on on the different types of tanks, and look at types of smoke they have, and they're all slightly different. Well, two of them are slightly different. The little 8 armor, base 8 armor, the M4A1, he doesn't really have a lot of smoke capabilities. His smoke mortar is only 4. White phosphorus is 7, which is the same as all the other tanks. And his regular smoke rounds are 5, as with the other tanks. So their smoke rounds is very limited, and they're probably only going to get maybe 1 shot. Out of 5 tanks, you might get 2 smoke rounds during the game. White phosphorus. What's that?
Question. How do you tell the morale of the tanks?
The morale of the tanks is equivalent to the elite personnel of that nationality.
Wouldn't that be 8?
No.
No, Americans are 227s.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Now, are there 667?
127. Oh.
Yeah, are there?
Well, that would be the vehicle crews.
Yeah.
In SK, it's just the highest crew. The American crews are 227s, so they have morales of 7. Yep.
Okay. Because they're considered elite. Okay, I gotcha. Because I don't think there are 667s in starter kit unless you get to the SK4. I'm not sure. I don't recall.
Right. Yeah, I think it's technically the it's the crew. Yeah, I think in SK it's whatever the crew morale is. That's what your morale is.
Okay. And so most of the other nationalities do have their elites are morale level 8. The Americans are the only ones that don't. Again, that's another reason why a lot of American players that play the Americans don't go CE, because they're going to be missing a lot of those task checks. But their tanks have more firepower than machine guns when they're AA, and you know, as long as the infantry are stronger or more powerful in terms of firepower than any other nationality out there. So you're giving up morale for firepower, and that's pretty much the doctrine of the American sort of the play style, I guess. So smoke mortar on that one tank M4A3, very weak, but still smoke mortar 4. The other ones are smoke mortar 8s. So you have 4 tanks with smoke mortar 8s, and you have 5 tanks with white phosphorus 7.
Wow.
So that's huge. Now
Huge.
Now, are there any modifiers when we're using smoke mortars? And here's where you need to whip out your rules and look at smoke dispensers, and look at your smoke mortars. So what does a smoke mortar do for us? How does it differ from the other smoke dispensers?
You can land disperse smoke anywhere from 1 to 3 hexes in, I think, the covered arc.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, you're correct.
So that's huge. You get to fire it 3 hexes away. When can you fire that?
Movement phase.
Any other phases?
Your defensive fire phase, if you want to.
Yeah, you can fire defensive fire in the movement phase too, as well. Absolutely.
Prep.
Prep fire. Can you fire in prep fire phase?
No, you have to be moving.
Yeah, it's a smoke dispenser.
Huh.
Yeah, smoke dispenser, so that's only during your movement phase.
You can fire the white phosphorus with the smoke, and the white phosphorus might be a little bit better anyway. What does the white phosphorus give us in this scenario?
Morale checks.
Free morale checks. Do the Germans have a lot of units? Not many.
Not many, so yeah.
What target do you think you want to use your white phosphorus on?
75L.
The 75Ls. You need to come up and then smoke it with some white phosphorus. That way, guaranteed get a instant morale check on them, and that could be useful. That could be very useful. They'll still have modifiers to it, but it will at least pop a morale check. And because we have 5 tanks, if you take 1 prep fire phase, you could drop 5 white phosphorus, down the entire road, just pop, and then, or pop it in front, and then just drive left or right or whatever. So that's interesting to know. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and proceed with this. Any questions on the scenario? What we're looking for? What the capabilities are of our vehicles and of the Germans, or any other questions? You have to look at what you're doing here. Remember, what's the purpose of the scenario? What are our victory conditions?
Exit the armor.
Right, and some infantry, but primarily you need 2 armor. Do we necessarily need to engage anybody?
No.
No, we don't need to engage these guys at all. We don't. For 5 turns. Oh yeah, here we go. So let's take this unit right here. Somebody, I'm going to clone him. I'm going to rename him. All right. His name's Jim. Sets him in this hex. All right. So when you're doing, anytime you do an exit scenario, you need to figure out how long it's going to take you to get the hell off the board. All right. A lot of players end up firing too often when they can't afford to fire at all. And there will be other things that come into play. So we'll have a leader, and we'll have, oops, I don't want to wound him. How about we just clone him? So we're going to do it with the squad, and we're going to do it with the leader. So just put the leader off the side. So this squad here, let's assume he starts in the closest position in I6. I'm going to assume he's going to start here. So at the closest position, let's see what it takes to get off. So let's start with a CX, assuming we're not going to get fired on, or we don't lose a morale check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, advance. Right? That's reasonable. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, advance. 1, 2, 3. Squads will take a minimum of 3 turns. Is he going to be able to do that? Unlikely.
No.
Unlikely. Now with the leader, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Technically he can get there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and off with advanced phase. So that's at the earliest spot. Now way over here, this adds at least how many movement phases to your move?
2.
At least 2. Let's see if a regular unit can even make it off the board from here. And we're not even going to go up the hill. We're going to have to expend 2 movement factors. Actually, we're going to have to, yeah. We're going to go up the hill, but we're going to zigzag. We're going to try to take the shortest route. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with CX, advance. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, advance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, advance. And then the 4th movement phase, he gets off. So between 3 movement phases and 4 movement phases of the least amount of movement factors you're going to leave off. And so the leader will typically give you 1 less turn. So it's minimum 3. The squad itself is 4. So that's the bare minimum what you need to know. And that's beelining it to Q3. So if you get broken, if you route backwards, you're losing time and you may not be able to escape. So what happens when those units, let's say he breaks, what happens when he breaks? Because you're going to have some broken units. Let's say this guy breaks up here. And then he runs. So if he can't get off, is he out of the game? If he physically can't get off the map.
He's just out of them getting off the board.
Right. So how has his priority changed?
Harass the blue units.
Right. He at this point he engages the Germans, which may or may not be the necessary thing. He needs to be the guy engaging where these guys might need to be moving. You know, if you've got a guy over here, let's say Jim's got a brother. Let's break him. Clone him. Let's say you got a leader and a squad here, and Jim's up here, right? Or it's like this. Who you gonna fire on the and he's over here. Let's say he broke in. This is like mid to late game. You gonna fire him or you gonna fire him at this unit? This is late game. This is late game. So and Jim number 1 broke and he can't get off, but this guy has an opportunity to get off, and we're thinking about prep firing on that unit. So which one of those units do you want to prep fire, if at all? You want to prep fire Jim?
Probably not. Probably run.
Right. He's got a this guy's got a 6-1 shot here. This guy's got a 6 shot. So do you want to fire the -1 or do you fire the 6 shot? What's the priority? Remember, Jim can't get off. J3 cannot get off. P3 has an opportunity to get off. Prep fire phase. Jim can fire. You don't want the 8-1 to fire.
Right, yeah.
Because if he breaks, then he's done. This guy can't get off. He takes the shot. Always, 100% of the time. Because if he breaks, what's 8-1 going to do? Run right by him, right?
Yep.
And get off the board. He's just off the board. This guy is moving off the board. This guy is breaking him so he can get off the board. Whether it's at a 2-hex range or a 6-hex range, he's firing. He's got the same firepower. He's got to take that shot, even if he's in a +2 building, because he's not getting off. Him moving does nothing, and the Germans are going to ignore this unit because he knows he can't get off. He's got to wait. The German has to wait for this unit to move because he's the only one that's going to be able to get off the map. When you're dealing with an exit scenario, you need to evaluate which of his units can get off and which of his units can't get off. Now, you might worry about him if he wants to get point blank on you. At this point, what has he done to this unit? Let's say he moves the entire way up here. He moves instead of firing. What does that do for the German unit? Well, in this case, not much. But what could that do? What does that take away from the German, if anything?
Well, it would if he does first fire. If he does first fire, then Right, then the A-1 can sneak around him. Yep.
Right. So, well, yeah. If he first fires at this unit, then he sneaks around with both the machine gun and the squad. If he first fires, he just blows on by him. So what the German would do in this case is what? If you're the German and you're faced with this guy rushing you like that, and this guy hasn't moved yet, and it's the movement phase, what do you need to do as the German?
Hold your fire.
You got to hold your fire. Who said that? Phil? Scott? Oh, Scott.
Scott.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to hold your fire because this guy has to move. And do you need to fire them both? Do you need to fire both the machine gun and the squad?
No. I mean, you could let the leader-directed machine gun shot if you wanted to do that, or leader-direct the squad. You probably want to leader-direct them because you don't want to get final fire counter on them.
Right. So,
you don't want them to cower.
Let's say he moves here to Q3. What would you fire as the German? And this is what would you fire as the German? Of course, the other situations could apply, but typically, what do you want to do? Taking into consideration of the types of units and how much firepower you have, etc., etc. So he's in open ground. He's moving. It's this non-assault movement. He's moving. He's straight up moving. That's one movement factor right there. He says 1.
All right. I'd probably take a leader-directed MG shot.
Yeah, leader-directed MG
I
shot.
disagree. I'm not going to shot.
You're not going to shoot?
No.
Okay. And then the next. Okay, why wouldn't you shoot, Shinji?
I wait for the Quebec 1.
Okay. So here and then here.
And kept the resident here.
Oh, fire the
I'll
residual.
take my fire residual.
Oh, I see. So your intent is to leave residual firepower there.
Residual fire here, and then -3 shot at the Quebec 1, and then another gym cannot go when another gym comes out to Quebec 1. They're gonna suffer another resident.
So if somebody else wants to come through the same sort of direction back here, you could fire that, and you're firing everything. It's going to be an 8 -3 is what you're looking at. Yeah, that's pretty damaging. And why is that so damaging? One, you got 6 morale. So both shots are perfectly fine. Again, it depends on what you want to do. A leader-directed shot here is going to be a 4 -3. Is that quite powerful against a 6 morale unit? A 4 will give you a 1 morale check, right? And then on the 8 chart, that'll give you a 2 morale check. So it'll slightly increase it by that. He'll need a 4 to pin or a 5 to pin, as well as the leader. And then, so you can continue to move this way as well. Now, if he goes here, Shinji, I have one question. If he goes here and he breaks, let's say you break him, and he's got one more turn after this. This is turn 4. And then we'll get to the replay. I just want to go over just the basics of kind of trying to move some guys off. So he breaks, but let's say they both break. Now, where is this unit going to route to?
Romeo 1.
Is there anywhere else he could route to?
Yeah. Romeo 3.
Or the hex above him.
Yeah, or S3 or T2, right? Because we could ignore Romeo 1, right? And we could go to R3, S3, or T3. So he could actually go 1, 2, 3, 4 back that way. And then, technically, where is he gone?
Towards the victory condition hex.
Towards the victory condition hex. Now, if this guy is going to be busied with this gentleman, he's going to have to prioritize this target over this target just to DM him again, so he can't rally in the American turn 5. So that's the only thing. And he's got an 8 morale, so he could it's like a 5. So his ability to rally in this location is the same ability of not failing a morale check in this location here. He needs a 4 or 5, and here he's going to need a 4 or 5, depending on whether the leader rallies. Or
wasn't R1 equidistant?
Right, and that's why he could ignore it. Yeah. He doesn't have to go here. He can go there, but he could go 1, 2, 3, 4, and not face any interdiction from anybody on the map.
Both break, right?
Both break here, right? Okay.
It have to route to the Romeo 1 because it crosses moving factor wise.
You're correct. You're correct. Romeo 1 is the closest to movement factors. But also when you're routing, Shinji, what's the other factor that we have to take into consideration? Is this, well, first of all, is this closer to an enemy unit? Like if this guy were here, do we route to Romeo 1? Right. We can't do that, right? That would be, even though it's the closest in MF, we can't go there. But if this guy's here, Romeo 1, the other part of that, the routing rules is you can ignore the routing destination if that destination is no further from like that unit. So this guy is 2 hexes away. Romeo 1 is 2 hexes away. So we could say, I'm not going to Romeo 1 because I'm not running away from the enemy. So we're going to route away from the enemy, and we're going to choose another destination.
Okay. So if you're in the starter kit, there's a line here that says a routing unit must ignore any building or woods hex that it cannot enter due to stacking limitations, and may also ignore a building or woods hex if that hex is no further away from a known enemy unit than its starting hex. Okay. So R1, is the same distance. So right now we're 2 hexes away. This is 2 hexes away. Therefore, according to the rules, you may ignore R1. You don't have to. You can route there if you wish, but you may ignore it. So what Stu is saying is ignore R1, and now the next nearest destination is R3. Now you can route to R3. Actually, R3, S3, or T2. They're all like four movement factors away. So you can ignore this location and route here. That rule exists in ASL as well.
Okay.
So that's kind of an important sort of caveat.
Yeah, it's huge. It's very huge.
Yeah, that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, very big deal.
Very huge.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Let's assume none of those woods are there and R3 is open ground. Let's assume all this is open ground. We can still ignore R1 and just go to any other reachable location. So he could technically just go with here. He could go to this location. He can go here. He could continue to route up in this open ground if he wants to, as long as it's within 6 movement factors. If all this is open ground and there's nothing reachable, he just names a hex that he's going to route to, and he could just run that direction. And so that's an important concept to understand when we're moving forward, and when we're looking and approaching a route, when we're approaching our movement phase, in terms of when I break, where am I going to go to? Yeah. So very, 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 very good question though. Very good question. I'm glad you asked that question. It just needs to be broken down. It needs to be 1, 2, 3. However you want to do it, it needs to be broken down almost sentence by sentence, because you route all the time and people just don't know how to route. I mean, they just don't. They miss a little things here, and that's just too much. But I mean, if I'm reading that paragraph, I'm asleep by the time I get 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah, your eyes glaze over.
You know, I mean, I was reading some last night. It's just you're done. You're done by the first or second line. So they need to break it up, and it's considering its routing and direction. In my opinion, probably the most important thing in the game. It's presented horribly.
Badly, yeah.
Horribly.
It is presented, yeah.
You know, and that's
Stu is the person who enlightened me to how to route in YouTube.
oh, what's that again?
It is you who enlightened me how to loot.
Oh, there you go. That's cool. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. And like I say, I mean, if
I always ignore the rule. I didn't even read our process article of the route rule.
Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And like I say, we cover route all the time, and we're going to cover the route here too. I mean, there's going to be a situation. I'm going to ask you some questions, and you guys are going to answer it. And but anyway, I just wanted to show you that in an instance where one unit can't get off, one unit is getting off, how the Germans are going to react to that. And again, it doesn't really matter whether you fire 8-1 here, 8-3 here, or 4, break it up. The whole point was everybody was going to ignore the guy in N1 because the priority target's the other guy. That's kind of the lesson here. But again, like everything, it breaks down into a routing problem. And now, knowing that you can use routing properly, you can use routing to your benefit. And a matter of fact, that's going to come up in a couple of these replays. Let's burn through those real quick. So let's go through it. These are actually pretty short. Order of movement's important in this one, people. Okay, let me back up a quick. Okay. Remember what we covered last week? What we covered last week?
Right.
Anybody?
I mean, order. Yeah, you said order of movement. How do you accomplish a specific goal?
Right. Demo charges too,
Same
right?
Goal and what you need to do to move. What units you need to move in what order in order to get to that goal.
Right. What are the threats that the Americans are looking for on this hill? What are the threats that we're looking at? Can we get on this hill safely on turn 1? Yes or no? And in what type of safety? What forms of safety can we bring, if any?
Smoke.
Smoke. What's another safe way to get up on that hill? That's a timing issue. You can advance upon it, right? We don't necessarily have to move it. We can advance upon it. We don't want to advance upon it necessarily. Why? What's the sweetest spot on this hill? What's the safest spot on this hill? How about G5? Out of range to this guy. This guy's in range. He's in range of everything. It doesn't really matter too much. 2-3-8, he's going to be within range of the whole. We can't even make it. Well, we can possibly make it over here. But so let's look what this first squad does. He moves here and ends movement. What should you be doing with this squad? If you're only going to move there, what should you be doing 100% of the time?
Throwing smoke somewhere.
Throwing smoke somewhere. Maybe G5? Maybe H5?
The only problem with G5 is you try to move into it, that's going to cost you what? It's going to cost you...
an extra movement factor.
It costs you 3 or 4.
Yeah, an extra... Can the leader get up there?
Yeah, the leader might just be able to get up there with 6, yeah.
Next question. If you're counter-exhausted, do we care?
Since you're probably not firing a whole heck of a lot of units, probably not.
Do we care? Because if this guy's in the woods over here, is that equivalent to being counter-exhausted? Is he the same? If we fire on him with a unit, is the same thing as firing on one of these units if we're counter-exhausted?
Yeah, but we're talking 6+1. You know, that's not an awful shot.
Right. Right. Or 4.
The scenario kind of wants you to be counter-exhausted if you actually want to win.
Yeah. So he could. So even if he gets up here, that'll be a 4+1. Whether it's here or within normal range over here, it's a 4+1 over here. If these guys break, where are they going to route? That's the next question. If this guy breaks, where's he going to route? What's his destination? 2-3-8. What's his destination? Assuming nobody's behind him, right?
Assuming nobody's behind him, his route's probably like H0 or J0.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, he's going away. This guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So way far away. Can he reach a leader? Is he going to reach a leader?
This guy here can 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Oh no! Well, except he's in open ground, so he can't get there. Yeah, that's right.
Right. I think I moved him. I think he's in the building. I think he's over here. I think.
Okay.
He'll come up later. He might be over here. I'm not sure where that guy moved from. But
okay.
But yeah, if he's here, he could reach him. If he's here, he can't, right? Because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
If he breaks, he's not getting to a leader. And this leader most likely isn't going to move over there to rally him. So, drop smoke here. Even if you don't want to go in there, he might think that you're going in there. Okay. Again, we move these guys here. Super safe, right? And tank moves up. Stops here. Now, talk to me about order movement. So, what do we have on this tank?
Smoke.
Right. Smoke mortar. Most importantly, smoke mortar, because we want to be moving and dropping smoke. Sometimes we might want to fire, but we want to be moving and firing smoke. Let's assume the tank comes on first. Right? Now we can't get up on the hill because we're gonna get shot at. How do we alleviate that? Smoke mortar. What's he need to drop a smoke when he moves within 3 hexes? Let's say he just goes to E6. Let's back that up. Let's say we want to get up on the hill. It doesn't really matter where the tank is. He set him up over here. Let's say he goes 1, 2, 3. And he moves here. What can this tank do? Right here from this position. And then he probably goes, I think you have to be CE? I'm not sure. Maybe.
No, you don't have to be CE, but you have to fire through your turret covered arc.
Right.
And if you're not CE, you have to add 1 to your roll.
Well, smoke pots, you have to be CE, I think.
Right.
Right. So obviously you want him to be CE because he's not gonna get fired on by anyone. What's he need to drop a smoke in G4 or F or G5 for that matter? Either one of those locations. If he's moving and then he stops. Let's just say he moves here and stops.
If he's CE, he would need
Better chance for dispensing their smoke mortar.
right. Yeah.
G4.
Yeah. What do we need?
Yeah, but he's moving, so the smoke mortar capability is originally 8 and it decreases into the 6, right?
Right. We're looking at a 6. Right. That's a good number. 6 is not bad. So we do a task check. That's not going to do anything.
Okay.
We don't move a point. Do we care? Do we care if the first tank misses smoke mortar?
No.
No. Why? Because we got 4 other tanks can do the same thing. And let's say he stops. Let's say that's where we want to move him anyway, right? Then the tank. I think this A2. Yeah, this A2. Guess what? Well, I'm going to clone him so it doesn't screw up the log file. And he could park right here and does exactly the same thing. And he still does exactly the same thing. And then if worst comes to worst, we pull another tank back here. If we need smoke, if that's our plan, we could have easily 3 tanks. Come on. There we go. Took 3 tanks to drop our smoke up there, right?
Yep.
Gosh, I forgot. Where's my
But you
smoke?
got it.
Oh, here it is. It's under smoke. Imagine that. It's under smoke.
Yeah.
So
there you
there
go.
it is. So
Works
boof.
sometimes.
So now, how long is this going to last? Next question.
So your next prep fire phase.
To your next prep fire phase. What did we just do to this location?
Turn it into a wooden building.
Turn it into a wooden building. We're changing the terrain. This is a wooden building now. Do we care if this 238 fires into the wooden building?
Well, yeah, 4+2, probably not.
No, not at all. This guy, it'd be a 6+1. This guy over here, 2+1. You've just nullified both these units on over here. Now we could take the 8-0 or the 8-1. I'm not saying it's a free move, but it's a safer move. 1, 2, 3, 6. Right? He just moved into a stone building. When he fires out of it in the advanced fire phase, what will the modifier be? If he fires adjacent. What would that modifier, what would that attack be? Because we want to attack. We want to take advantage of our position, and we want to attack out of that. Right.
You're going to be 6 up 2.
6 up
Right,
2.
you're correct.
Right. Okay, so if I move him there first, and these guys have not moved, these squads have not moved, right? The tanks move first. He moves here. These squads have not moved. What's going to happen at this location? Are the Germans going to fire at this unit right here? And these squads have not moved. Maybe. Maybe, maybe not. This guy probably is. Maybe. What did we do to G5? What did we just do to G5? Is G5 a safe location? Relatively safe location?
Yeah, I mean relatively, at least from the 238 and the 447. That's long range from the 447, so it'd be a 2. That still be a 2-2.
Right. This is a 2-2. This is a +2 for the smoke. +2 for the smoke. Whether we're in it or not, we're still going to be guarded by these guys. What's going to happen when we move? We're going to move 1 unit here, and what's he going to do? This unit.
pop up another smoke.
Try to pop a smoke
Or,
right there.
Smoke or a Hotel 4.
So that's kind of the idea there. That's how we change a 4-2 to from a 6-2 to a 2-2 with ad nauseum subsequent first fire. We need to use smoke. That's our only chance. And so D moves up, and then F is right there. And yeah, the leader moves there. Then he moves his tank. And I don't think C is there. I think C is right here. This tank is fine up on the hill. Why? Because now he's putting pressure on this guy. This guy's got to make a decision. What decision do you think he'll make? He's going to run. He has no chance but to run. And again, this unit moved first, right? What does he have to do? 1, 2, 3. What does he do automatically? He tries to play smoke if he's got a fire chart somewhere. Sometimes again it might make a detriment, but you need to make sure what's going on. If you see X, does that hurt us too much? It reduces our exponent.
Not immensely.
Yeah.
Instead of a 3, you need a 2. Yeah.
You need a 3 and a 2. The tank doesn't do anything for us in cover wise because he's moved. When this tank moves, what does he need to do? If he wants to protect these units coming on behind him, what does he need to do?
Use a smoke mortar.
Smoke mortar. Where could he fire it? Where would you fire if you wanted to fire on this unit in advanced fire, where would you fire your smoke mortar? Because you probably want to use your firepower as a tank to do damage to him, right? I mean, that's legit. I mean, I would. Right? So where would you fire your smoke mortar? Considering your infantry are probably going to be vulnerable. Especially if he's got a shot like this. You might want to fire it down this row somewhere. Probably D2 or C3. Alright, D2 makes this really good, right? D2 turns these guys into stone buildings. That location's a stone building if you fire smoke in D2.
Well, if that tank wants to fire on F1, then I think it'll hit the D2, it'll go through the D2 hex side. So you may want to think about C3 then.
C3 is pretty good. So let's try the German line of sight from... Oh, this tank's in the way. My tank is... I'm going to move the tank. Let's look at the line of fire from F1 to B4. Talk to me about that line of fire.
Just hits the C3 vertex, so that's covered by smoke.
Right. This hex provides smoke cover for this unit from that unit because it hits the vertex. It's inherent terrain, and it will affect all of these hexes around here. This guy, from here to here, it's clear, but from here to here, it is obscured by the smoke. Shoot your smoke mortar. Another thing he could have fired his smoke mortar like right here, right? In case the AT gun's over here, and you got this guy running down the road, something like this, the AT gun might take a shot at it if you think it's here. Just drop the smoke mortar there. It's not going to do anything. You know, there's no harm to it. There's no ammunition that's going to run out. It's you just keep shooting. And why not? You know, the infantry's probably not going to be running down the road, and if it is, it's probably not going to be running far anyway. Considering we got a leader over here, so. Smoke, smoke, smoke. So that's what that smoke is for. I wanted to show you that line of sight from here to here is going to hit that vertex. And why do I know that? Because you got to practice your line of sight. So you have to understand that it's going to bisect D2, and then that's the geometry of ASL. The second episode is it goes into actual vertexes. A little more difficult, a lot more difficult in my opinion, to understand. But once you understand that, then you know that is a perfect spot for smoke. And he gets pinned on that guy. This guy runs up here. Do we want to take that residual per se? Do we want to take this residual? Maybe not. Remember, 6 morale unit, 1-2.
Yeah,
maybe not. It's 6. It's pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. And the other thing, again, the infantry are moving before the tanks. In this one, we want the tanks to move to drop smoke. If this guy failed the smoke mortar, this guy could pop up and drop a smoke mortar here. His might be like really shitty. No, his is a 8 as well. I think this guy might be 5. This guy's smoke mortar 4. But even still, we have a snake eyes to drop smoke there. Do we try it anyway? Absolutely. It's a free roll. It's an absolutely free roll. And then we have this other guy might do the same thing. You know, at this point, this guy might roll up here and drop a smoke just on that location, just like we did over here. Smoke mortar. Smoke, use them every single turn. And these guys roll down the road. John, talk to me about that lead tank.
I want the jumbo as a lead
Yeah,
tank.
the jumbo should be here 100% of the time because of his armor. This guy can be destroyed quite easily. This guy has to take that lead. Has to take that lead. And what are these guys going to do when they stop there? Let's say I think they stop there. He stops there, and this guy stops behind him. What does he do when he stops? Smoke mortar right here. This guy fires a smoke mortar right there. So in case there is a gun there, which, I mean, it's right down the road. If about 90% of the time, there's probably going to be a gun there. Smoke mortar, smoke mortar. So if we get one smoke, wrong one. If we get one smoke there, that's a huge help. If we get two smokes, what's he need to hit us? If he's right here and he fires on us. In a defensive fire phase, not in the movement phase. Let's say defensive fire phases. What does he need to hit? If the gun is here, what does he need to hit us here? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Range of 7. So what's the base to hit number on the range of 7? Looks like a 9. Black to hit numbers is a 9. 9 base to hit. We pop a size modifier on that. Makes it a 10. That's the best the German's going to get. And then we add our bonuses. We're moving. +2. Smoke. +2. Smoke. +2. We just changed his attack from hitting us to an 8 to a 4. 8 to a 4. Do we want an 8? Do we want to get shot at with an 8, or do we want to get shot at with a 4? I mean, it's a
take a 4 every time.
Every single team. Never get.
Once those gasoline tanks burst into flames, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But what's at that point, it actually helps us because there's more smoke on the map.
Well, not in SK though.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got, just like the infantry, you've got nothing else to do but drop free smoke. I mean, he could plop one here. This guy technically could just stop and bounding fire. There's no reason why not to. I mean, because he's going to be gone. If you move 2 tanks up here, he's never staying there. So you're never going to... Getting an acquisition on this unit is pointless. Because he's not going to stay there. There's nobody in the planet, I don't care who it is going to stay there and take 2 tank shots and machine guns and squads up the yin-yang. You know, it's just not going to happen. So, take your machine gun fires and then smoke mortar. Boop, boop, boop. You know, or smoke mortar, or just smoke them. Don't even worry about, just smoke him. That way your infantry just fully charge up the hill. I mean, you could prep for next turn if you fire smoke here and here. Well, actually, be gone by next turn. But, I mean, just smoke him. Just make sure your guys survive. Remember, we don't need to engage him at all. We just need to get our bodies off the map. If he wants to stick around and dance with us, then he's gonna get sore feet at the end of the dance because he's gonna get obliterated. He's just gonna get obliterated. We have too much firepower. All right. So, and lo and behold, tank shows up. Shocks 1 tank, and we do fire on that guy. And there's lots of guys breaking around here. So we advance up the hill. Everybody advances up the hill. Prep fire phase next turn. I believe it's next turn. Yeah, Axis prep fire phase. He's already got the ACK on him. Boom. Guy in the back. Boom. That's hard. Could he hit us with the 2 smokes there? Absolutely. He could still hit us there with a smoke, but it's a less chance. Instead of a 10, it would be like a 6 or something like that. Yeah, it would be a 5. A 6 with the acquisition. And then the guy in the back is a 5 after he blows this guy up with a rate of fire. So 6 and a 5. He can still hit with those, but it's better than a 10 and a 9. It's better than a 10 and a 9. And considering these are 8 armor, he got decent kill rolls too. 18 doesn't scratch him. We might lose if he's got 1 tank behind him. At least we have 1 hindrance for the tank. right? The tank in the front, and then that gives us at least that negates our size there. So the big boy, the jumbo boy, it's got to be in the front at least to give hindrances. If not to infantry, then just he can't get destroyed by that gun. And lo and behold, he's tucking tail and running. All right. So we move here. We move on from here. The gun is covering that road. So how would you approach the gun at this point? The gun comes up. You lost 2 of your tanks out of 3. 2 of these guys got to get off. How does that change your game plan?
You'd be a lot more careful with those tanks.
Yeah. Which tank is the only one that can even look at that gun?
Your jumbo.
The only thing that happens is this guy pulls up on the crest and fires until this thing is broken. That's the only thing that happens. Do you have the time for that? I don't know. Probably not. And then these guys either have to do a maneuver and wait for the other AT gun to show up, because you still got 3 guns. The jumbo still leads. The jumbo still leads down the road. You might get flanked. You might be over here. We don't know. We have no clue where that gun is. But what are we going to do while we're driving down the road? As soon as he pops up to here, what's going to happen? Let's assume we want to move right here and set up shop against this 75. What's going to happen as soon as we land here and stop?
Smoke mortar's going somewhere.
Smoke mortar wherever you think the other gun might be. If you think the gun's here, you smoke mortar maybe like right in front of it, or I2, or right in front of you. Or if you think it's over here, you drop in H1. You maybe drop in G. You might want to drop in G1 because your infantry can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the advanced phase and get up here. This guy can't do anything against him. That'll be a 6+3 shot. You got a height advantage and +2. Again, stone building. You just turn this hill into a stone building by putting a smoke pot there. This guy here, he drops a smoke pot here. Why? Panzerfaust. This is good usage of smoke. We need some cover. Perfect. Could he stop here and drop it on him? Absolutely. That'd be better, right? Now he's +3 to hit. Now we just ignore him. He's never going to hit anything at that point, a moving tank. So your priorities got to change. Can you still be taking offensive action? Absolutely. But you have to know who's going to be doing the heavy lifting. And this guy will probably have to button up, because if he hits him with an HE shot and he stuns him, then he's going to be slightly ineffective. But anyway, he's got a tank going over the left-hand side. Oops. I'm going to zoom out real quick. And he's got guns showing up here. This is a danger. This is a risk. And when he shows here, what should he do? Even if it's a crappy roll. Smoke mortar 2. Smoke mortar 2. Is he going to make it most of the time? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it's free. It's free. This is your weakest tank overall in terms of defending in smoke. Another good thing about the smoke here is all these shots are over here. These guys are taking +2 shots. I think he first fired over here. He got nothing. And these guys are hightailing on the flank. Fun move. Remember, when we fire in the advanced fire phase, what's our firepower? At range, not point blank, at range.
Halved.
Right. So if this unit fires at that unit, what's our firepower in the advanced fire phase? What are we taking? What's that shot?
4-up-1.
4-up-1. What's this shot? This unit to here. The 447 in range to H3. What is that shot?
4-up-1.
4-up-1 in his prep fire phase or defense fire phase. When we move, our firepower is equivalent to the enemy's. We're going to have height advantage. He's going to have woods. It's going to be equivalent. We don't have the morale. But this unit here, the 238, is going to be a 1-up-1. We can win that fight. So not a big deal. This unit's, let's see what it's, I think it's route phase, yeah. How far did this unit go back? H4, broken H3. Why did he stop there?
Well, I certainly don't want to go any further back.
Right. Would you have selected a different location to route to? Any other, is that the only spot he can go to? I mean, his destination would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. His destination would be D6. right? He doesn't want to route the D6. Why?
No, if he's in H3, he can't get there. That'd be 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, 5, 6. All right, sorry. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all right. No worries, no worries. But it's far away from him. If he routes here, he's out of the game.
Right.
Route here, not too bad. Where's a better spot?
I choose go for
G4. Why would you do that, Shinji?
G4. 8-1 leader.
Yeah. 8-1 jumps on him.
Advance.
Yeah, 8-1 jumps on him. Is this guy sticking around? Is he going to DM you later on? Unlikely. You've got two. You got, even though this guy's shocked, you've got a tank here. He's going to take a shot. You're fast turret traverse. That's not too. I mean, the machine guns. The machine guns are enough to worry about that. And right here, because of the smoke is here, you might want to consider going at the end of the advanced phase. In the advanced phase, you might want to consider going CE, because now you got. If you move your gun, that's going to be like an 8+2, 3, 4, an 8+4 shot, which is not bad with your machine guns, and that's enough for me to hightail it out of there. Because if he breaks, he's got 1 squad, and then that whole flank collapses. But that's just me. So oh, that was a broken unit there. So okay, it's final fires, and the Germans retreat. Not bad, because the Germans need to cover the exit. He just needs to harass. Actually, he skulked. So it's Ally turn 4. Ally turn 4. Evaluate the situation from this point. What do the Americans need to do right now?
Helicopter assault.
Yeah, I was thinking the fight. A couple fighter bombers might prove to be useful.
Right. And who can get off? Right now, as the Americans, you need to understand who can get off.
Nobody.
Only these 2 tanks can get off.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, nobody's getting.
This 9-1 can get off. Let's take his route. 1, 2,
we're talking
3,
turn
4,
4.
5,
Okay.
6, 7, 8. Advance. 1, 2, 3, 4. Off. Is that going to happen? Is that realistic?
Not realistic, no.
Yeah. He doesn't even have his other AT gun revealed. He just doesn't have it revealed. It could be here, just like Shinji said. T1's a good spot. U3's a good spot. He's not making it. He's not making it there. 2 tanks. 2 tanks could possibly get off. You can miss. Panzerfausts against moving vehicles. As long as you stay 2 hexes away, you got a decent chance of getting past him. You do have a size modifier, but the Americans are hard pressed right now. These guys over here, what's their value? At turn 4, mind you. At turn 4, what's the value of these units over here?
None.
None.
But I have a slight chance to use this open ground route by using their CE stators.
Oh, the tank. The tank could possibly use the road.
Tanks get
Right. The
But
tank could possibly use the road.
It's extremely dangerous.
Right, we need 10 points. The tanks are 3, so we still need we'll still need a squad or a leader off. A leader. We have 2 leaders. We can get off, but yeah, this is dangerous too, because guess what? Yeah. That's down his covered arc. That's straight down his covered arc. And so, what could we do to alleviate that? To get 2 tanks off? A white phosphorus. This would be pretty good.
I can utilize this tank to bite to shoot their.
Oh, right.
AT guns. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's possible. Absolutely. You try and get a bait up here. Maybe he doesn't realize that he could possibly get off. But this 447, look at that position that he's got there. Nice spot.
Yeah.
Panzerfaust shot. Panzerfaust shot.
Right.
8-0, same sort of thing. He's covering the road. So, considering the players, I think that was intentional in making sure you cover the road so the tank can't get by. You get a Panzerfaust shot. So, let's pop another game. Let me close this one here. This one didn't get too far. 1-3. Nobody. Now this one here, Germans are not even up on the hill. Makes it a really different game for the Americans, right? He can just charge up the hill and doesn't have to worry about dropping smoke. Again, he stops right before the edge of the hill. That's fine. Doesn't want to take a defensive fire shot. Why? Because he's got 6 morale. This guy here, that's a stack of units. What's going to happen to him? What's going to happen here?
It's going to be shot at a lot.
From whom? We're talking
This guy right here.
Yeah, that guy right there. That's a 2 even shot. Do you want to take a 2 even shot with 6 morale units?
No.
Not any day of the week. You're moving all these guys. You're moving around that. I think you started here. You move in SK. You can move off board. I don't know if it's described, and I don't really think it's probably described well. But you can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't have to enter right in front of you. I don't know if that's described accurately. I would probably assume that it's not. Or at least it's not conveyed well. So this is a hex that you could technically avoid. But he doesn't fire at him. No worries. There we go. Look, who's first? Who's first, John? That's our lead tank.
Oh, okay.
But I think something very interesting happens in this one. I've never seen it before. So again, CE, that could be a danger, right? Now, look what happens here. What happens here? Both tanks are CE.
Is that where it stops?
No, he's moving. He's moving. What happens if we stop?
Well, one of those vehicles goes away because you can't have 2 vehicles in the same hex at the same time.
Right. With this second tank coming on, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's only 4 movement points right here. He is CE. What is the problem with being CE in this at this instance?
He can be hosed down by the MG and J0.
Yeah. What's that shot?
That's man. It's going to be
8 even.
8 plus
8,
1.
right?
8 plus 1. Yeah, because the C is
8
plus
plus
2.
1.
But yeah, it's a shot we want to avoid, right? How can we avoid that shot?
Absolutely. Yeah.
How can we avoid that shot? Button up. We just simply button up. Because what can happen if he gets a result on us?
Stun the vehicle and wind up being recalled.
If we stun, what's going to happen when he stuns the vehicle, John? We stop.
Yeah.
So what happens? He gets a 5. We roll an 8 because our elite morale's garbage, and he gets stunned. And so that vehicle, or one of those vehicles, is straight up eliminated.
Wow.
He just destroyed a tank with infantry fire table. In SK. In SK, he just destroyed a tank with infantry fire.
Yep.
So to avoid this, obviously this is a very good learn lesson, because I've never seen this before. Never seen this before.
No.
Never seen this before. But if he goes button up, he ignores that problem. Well, at least from the infantry. If he gets shot by a tank and gets immobilized or whatever, that's another story. But that's a lot more rare, considering his elite morale is 7. And his tanks just kind of take position down here. That's fine. And so he just straight up loses the tank. And obviously you lose the tank that was, well, hopefully stunned. But this 18, if his 18 was the one that was stunned, I would probably keep the stun tank simply because of the armor factor.
Yeah, do you get a choice or is it random selection?
You got. I think you just get a choice, since you must eliminate one of the tanks.
Okay.
And then he does what all tanks do. He punishes you for getting his line of sight. So the leader breaks. And here we go. What do we like about this situation down here in the J3 area? 2 things we like about it. Well, 1, the 9-1 leader got broken, right? And 2, we're split up. We're not stacking anybody in this game that's going to get shot at. We split them up. This guy is long range 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 4 firepower plus 1 up on the hill. Not super. And yeah, we got 12. We got 12 staring down there, and we've got 16 staring down here. That's a lot of firepower. Again, the 9-1 leader. To be honest with you, in this case, I'm not sure I would have the 9-1 leader there. I might consider, simply because we need to do what in this one here, gentlemen?
Yep.
We
Yeah,
need
you
to
have to exit.
Back.
we need to get the hell off board.
Yeah.
We don't need him to direct fire. 16 plus 1, do we need a -1 leader? First of all, you can't use him anyway, right? You could use a 6 even shot, but What the hell's a tank for? The tank's got a 6+2+3 shot on him, plus a main gun, and smoke and everything else that could fire at him. I mean, this is much less effective. Losing this leader is that leader's priority target. This leader's priority target. Infantry shouldn't be firing on any other things other than these guys here, because once those leaders break, A, their mobility is gone, and B, the 666s now really can't move. If they break, they're going to be out of it until this leader's up. Put the leader here. Anybody that breaks here can route to where? If any of these units break, where are they routing?
They can route right back to him. Yeah.
They route right back to him. They're not routing over here. They're routing 1 hex back to him. How is that legal? Because we're not routing closer and nothing's within range. We go right back to him. And then we just try to rally. And then we just continue moving. But the 9-1 up here, not necessary. Not necessary right now. Just not necessary. It's a risk that we want to avoid. Here, we don't want to stack. Why? Because that's the second strongest stack right here. We don't want his 6+1 to break 2 units. Not good. One guy there is fine, just to threaten him. If he fires and he rolls like a 10, then he's going to be firing a 6+1, same thing back. And if he breaks, he's pretty much probably going to be out of the game. So he does get one of us, the Americans, on there. He gets DM'd there. Again, all this firepower, boom, boom, boom. Our MG is out of it. I don't even know exactly what hit him, but the Americans have the firepower. And you see this guy right here? He's CXing because he's coming to react to it. When he fires on us, that's good because now he's a 4+1. We love that. And we do get a DM on this one, even with a 6+1. Remember, our 6+1, that's enough to break the unit. That's probably a win-win situation. Okay, let's go to the route phase. Final fire. The tank fires, wounds a guy, blows him up. Again, this is a perfect example of American firepower destroying you where you stand. Okay, route phase comes. He routes there. I'm not sure. Did the leader? The leaders definitely should be moving with him, right? Okay, and down here, they're talking about destinations from this unit here. Where's this unit routing? Where's that unit routing? In D2. What's his nearest destination?
Looks like I4 is 2, 3, 5. D6 is 1, 2, 3, 5.
And B6 is further.
All right, B6 is further.
Right.
B4.
So these would be our destinations of our route path. If we choose to route, do we have to route from that location? Do we have to route?
We do not have to route.
That's the first question you asked. Do you have to route from your location? You do not have to route. So, would you want to route in this sort of in this setup? There are no prep fires. We can remove the prep fires. Are you routing this unit at all?
No.
Nope. Why?
Because you go further away from your objective.
And there's two things going on. Further away from your objective, perfect.
And the 8-1 is right there.
Right.
And one more thing. Who's going to fire on him?
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to fire on him. You know, this guy, I think, already advanced. If he advances, he's going to advance here. Is he going to advance there with one broken unit here? I wouldn't. Why? Because this unit by himself broke those guys. What's going to say he's not going to break that guy? Now, this guy's a 4+2 up there. That's a losing situation. That's a 4+2 and a 6+1 back at him. And that's not even including this leader. So, let's say this unit has to route. Let's say there's a threat there. Let's say the LMG is still here. The LMG guy, we're going to clone him. We're going to clone this. The LMG guy is still there. And you did nothing. The American did nothing. He's still right here with the leader. Where are you going to route? 100% of the time, almost 100% of the time. 100% of the time, where are you going to route? We've got two route destinations we could choose from. Are we going to either one of those destinations?
No, you're probably going to low crawl.
Yeah, we're never going to these woods. We're never going here, ever. In this game, we're never going here, because that's a full turns of movement. This, you could argue that's not really a full turns of movement, but the problem with this one is what? Our leader's nowhere near there. We could self-rally him, and but it's going to be our turn coming up. So this guy's going to be, this guy's going to have to self-rally in the next American turn, because he's going to have to super low roll for this. So that's an issue here. This unit here, where's he routing? This unit. Squad F and J3. Where's he routing? He has no destination he goes to, so where's he going?
Probably J4 if he's moving at all.
K4.
Yeah, K4. It's American turn next. Got to be K4. Why?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, same distance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's got to go to K4. Is that a risk? From this unit? Absolutely not. From this unit, 2+1. Even if he has an LOS. And so, and then this one here, they all pretty much occurred. All the games were pretty much even in terms of what the Americans were doing. Some of the Americans were successful, and like you saw in that one, the first game we saw, Americans weren't successful much at all. And the second one, the MMG's gone, the light's gone. A couple of guys go through there. I think the AT gun comes up. You know, half the games dealt with the AT guns. They like casually reduced the crews. And the other ones, the tanks drove by them, got blown up by them, so it's like a 50-50. So essentially it becomes like a tank battle. But in terms of strategy and approaching the game differently, okay, knowing what we know about where the exit hexes are and using the exit hexes as a clue to a potential different strategy. Okay, we're looking at a potential different strategy. Everybody in this game, except for one person, drove a tank. One guy drove a tank up here, and it was end of game at DD6, right? That's where he ended in DD6. Okay, so let's take looking at the exit locations. Can you give a potential reason why Q8 is an exit hex? Looking at the topography.
Well, somebody could run along the road.
Right. So that means we need somebody up here. Right? Are infantry going to get up there? Probably not.
No.
It's possible, but that's the idea. Is you've got an exit hex up here. Because there's a road there, that assumes that somebody's going to be using that road. Let's see who can use that road and how long it will take them to get there. So let's take some tanks, not the 12, not the jumbo. We don't want the jumbo, because where's the jumbo going, John?
He's going to go straight up the middle.
The
He's
jumbo,
going to be
right. The jumbo's going here 100% of the time. 100% of the time. He's just going to park there. He's going to park there and blow everybody up. Probably button up. He's going to take care of these 4 positions. And then he's going to expose, hopefully expose where the other guns are. If the other guns show up, because what can he do? If the guns don't fire, let's say you got a couple tanks cowering down here, right? I don't want to risk these tanks because I know that thing can destroy them. Just say you got some infantry up on this hill. What can this vehicle do to try to find the gun? Look at the info.
Fire smoke into the hex.
Specifically, what type of smoke?
white phosphorus.
White phosphorus. White phosphorus will generate a morale check and cause loss of concealment. And the other thing he could do, he could fire white phosphorus here. Smoke, right? Fire my main gun. What do I need to hit? White phosphorus in that location right there, or this location right here. What do we need to hit?
Nines.
Nines? And what else are you missing, John? What's our target?
Woods hex.
Woods hex. And a hidden unit will add 2. So, but yeah, you're absolutely right. So the white phosphorus, if you had like a smoke 9 or smoke 8, it might be something different. But white phosphorus 7, it's going to be a 7 to hit. First of all, anything other than 7 is garbage anyway. So this scenario, I think they designed it that way. Maybe particularly in these particular tanks, I'm not sure why, but coincidentally or not, a 7 is what you need to hit as your last round, regardless, because +2 for firing smoke and then -2, well, -2 +2, however you want to see it, for being concealed. So a 7 is going to hit regardless. That'll no ammo. Let's say we hit one. Come on, let's drop some more hits. There you go. A bunch of bullshit. But so we direct the white phosphorus here. So what happens if somebody's there? Take a morale check, right?
Yeah.
That's the prep fire. What do we do with our other weapons? We fired our main gun. So if nobody takes a morale check here and we roll a 3 or 7 or whatever, that's our last shot. What do we do with our machine guns?
You fire at a different location. Yeah.
4+2. You're finding the gun. You don't care about these guys. You want a 4+2 over here because these guys have to be protected. This guy, you're gonna protect that tank by these squads coming up here, and maybe these squads coming over here. This guy can't stay there. He's running like a coward. And even better. We'll pause it. So your fire machine guns blanket here. What's the firepower attack going to be there? If I'm CE, I have my AA gun available to me. What is my attack in that location in L0? They're both within normal range, so they're not going to be had for that. What's the firepower attack firing at an empty hex like that?
Would be 4.
4, because you're firing at a quote concealed unit, not a known unit. 4+2, not a bad shot chart, not a good one. All we want is a 5 for pin task check. All we want is a pin task check to see if somebody's there. If we roll a 5, miss, next defensive fire phase. Oh, good lord. All right, we break all of our guns. So nothing happens there. So when he doesn't do it, what are these guys going to do? 6.
They're going to start doing the same thing.
6
Right.
6+2, or 6+1. 6+2, actually better than the machine gun. Actually better than the tank. At that point, this tank fires here. When these guys fire, yeah, the tank, whatever you want to try it. 6+2 is not bad. There you go. Assuming the leader directed. For leader directed, that's a pin task check. Probably not going to be leader directed because we probably don't really want to stack. But a 5 is the same thing we're looking for. Now look, tell me, gentlemen, what's odd about H0 that you see? Tell me something odd about the German setup. We haven't even identified the German setup. What's odd about the German setup? Do any flags pop up? Do any like light bulbs or things like that kind of pop in your head? Or do you just think, he's just set up an H0?
Half squad's kind of odd. I wouldn't move them out myself, but
Right. Half squad doesn't seem like he belongs there, right?
Yeah, it doesn't add anything really to the attack.
Right. So why
I
do
mean,
you...
no, it's a half squad that you could put
you're-
for an
If you're
annoyance.
adjacent, if you're adjacent, instead of being on a 16 table, you're on a 20 table. I mean, it's not exactly
Yeah.
a huge improvement. Yeah.
But the Americans aren't coming adjacent to him. And
Right.
not any day in this scenario. Why? The Americans aren't here to engage you. The Americans are here to leave.
Mhm.
The Americans are not taking a 20 chart in any way, shape, or form. Nowhere. So, since I'm not getting adjacent to you, and you probably know that as a German player, whether you're new or not, regardless, what else might set up a red flag to you? Does anything else come to mind? What's not on the board?
Don't see any of the guns yet.
No guns. Whole stack of units here. What might be in this vicinity?
Probably
guess-
75.
There's probably a 75. Real damn close.
Mhm.
Real damn close. And I think it's... Hell, I think it might be an H1. Let me just pop the log.
It's awfully close.
Yeah, he's just stacked. Again, we don't want to stack. He doesn't want to stack either. Why? Because he doesn't have any units. Well, neither of us have any units. If he takes a bad shot there, he's losing a leader, his highest morale unit, and a 447, and his medium. His entire game is in this hex. So this should send up red flags. Just based on his setup. He gets a Panzerfaust over here. We don't care about the Panzerfaust over here. We're going to revisit that in just a second. Guns are firing. People are blazing. People are dying. He backs up. Oh, it's safe to move forward, isn't it?
Where are the guns? I assume they're staying hidden.
Yeah.
Not...
Now it's safe to move forward, right? Because his big stack moved away. This is where you need to start reading your opponent and analyzing his setup. Guess where the gun is? Right there. He happens to have picked the jumbo. Our jumbo moves over here, just like that.
Oh man.
And he kind of baited that shot out. It's all safe. It's all clear. And sure enough, boom. And it takes our jumbo out.
It's a rear shot too.
Just like that. Now, the question that may have come into play is if we're here and these guys are here, this gun is hit. I'm just going to get rid of it. That gun is hit in this location. We fire this gun on here. We fire our squads. 12 plus 1 in that location. Let me roll 6. Let me roll a 6. I roll a 6 on a 12 plus 1. These two guys are firing combined fire group into that location. I fire 12 plus 1 at hex H0. What happens with a dice roll of 6?
Well, that's an 8 on the 6 table for the hidden crew, so they'd have to take a pin task check.
Okay. And then
It's a well-affected hex is what it is.
Yeah. And then the 12 chart on the other units, what does that garner us?
Does it generate what?
One morale check. One morale check. Doesn't really, These guys take a morale check. You're half firepower against the gun. You don't ignore the gun. And especially if the gun is like this, well, it'll be +2 versus the gun, right? 6, 7, 8.
Right,
Yeah. Because he's emplaced. So the gun, he has to take a pin task check. Regardless of if he passes or not, the gun is now revealed. I don't know if that occurred during the scenario. I didn't look at it that pretty intently. But just because he's hidden doesn't mean he's immune to fire. That's beside the point. But anyway, I just want to point out to you guys, he's got 4 very important units in this one location. That should throw up red flags. There's probably a gun within 2 hexes of this location. Almost 100% of the time. The other gun is the wild card. The other gun could be absolutely anywhere at one time or another. Smoke 5, 1 turn, 1 guy's going to get smoke 5. So there's going to be a +3 smoke for 2 turns pretty much on there. White phosphorus 7, you're probably going to get 3 of those. So there's going to be white phosphorus 7 on the board somewhere. Those are probably going to be shot in terrain, because that's where we're going to try and bait out where does that gun, where do I want that gun not to be? I don't want it to be here. I don't want it to be here. And I don't want it to be here. Those are perfectly fine white phosphorus shots. Because if the gun does show up, guess what? He's +3 now. He's +3 to hit for at least another turn and a half. And then you smoke mortar, and then all your infantry charge that son of a bitch, and you just kill him, or ignore him, or do whatever. You might not have time to ignore him, but you have these smoke pots that last quite a while. You know, you continue to smoke pot him. But anyway, the smoke ammunition must be exhausted in this game. Must be exhausted. Let's look at these guys. 7 movement points. Remember, we're not taking the 12. Jumbo's in the middle, right? We're taking the 7, and we're going to take the 15. Let's see how far a tank can go. And we really don't care about this guy right here, because our infantry can come on up on the hill and park right there and shoot this guy. If he has a Panzerfaust, he has a Panzerfaust. We could probably deal with that in another fashion. Or we can come up here and shoot these guys. Because what do we need to do? What can we do? So we go here 1, 2, 3, 4. If we go 4, and that guy was right here, the German was right there, right? Let me grab a German. What are we doing to that German? If we're moving this way, what are we doing to him?
White phosphorus.
Or,
Smoke-
well, you got to smoke mortar him.
Smoke
yeah.
mortar. Smoke mortar 6. No effect. Do we continue moving? That's up to you. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's all the farther we go, and we're in motion. That's turn 1. All right. Let's say this guy comes up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Smoke mortar. No effect. No big deal. At that point, if the smoke mortar doesn't work, right here, what do we do? If the smoke mortar doesn't work at our 3 hex range, what are we doing?
Phosphorus.
It's gonna be hard to hit. What do we got?
Gun and
Guns gonna be hard to
machine
hit.
guns.
Machine guns. Machine guns. We stop. We fire 4+1. What's that? No effect. Do you continue? That's up to you. The other guy goes up, fires smoke mortar, 4+1. Same result, same shitty result. So we're kind of stuck there. Is he going to stick around? Let's say this is all the further you're going. Is he going to stick around? No, he's gone. He's not staying there. He's dead if he does. He just is. He might skulk, but then you do the same thing. Do you prep fire on this guy? If he skulks, do you prep fire on this guy? The answer is no.
No.
The answer is no. Why?
Don't have enough time.
Don't have
You
enough
gotta
time.
move.
We just start. What do we do? What do we do when we start? Smoke mortar.
Smoke them.
Smoke mortar. Do it again. There it is. Boop. What's this to hit coming out of that smoke? +3, right?
Be a 3.
Right.
4. 4.
What, 4?
By a 4.
It's dispersed, right?
Well, it's dispersed smoke, so it'd be normally +3, but you're a big vehicle, so it'd be +2. So you get a -1 because it's a big vehicle.
Oh, the dispersed smoke is +2, right?
Right. Dispersed smoke is +2, but you're +3 if you're firing out of it.
Yeah. And then -1 for your side. Yeah. So he needs
Minus
a plus.
one for
So,
his side.
so even if he gets smoked, and he's probably going to wait for adjacency, right? So go 1,
Right.
2. At that point, this guy can fire. Well, yeah. You want to move. You want to smoke him, and then what else you could do?
You can machine. Well, you could. Yeah. You
You can machine gun him. Yeah, machine gun him. You know, is it a great shot? No, but hell, they're free. 5, 6, 7, 8 on the 4 chart. That's a miss. No big deal. So that's a 1 for the smoke mortar. You probably will still want to be you probably want to start back up when all your machine guns fail. So you're in motion. So you save a movement point. So you 1 movement point for the smoke. 2, 3, 4. He fires at us. You know, it is what it is. He fires at us. It's going to be, what does he need to hit right there? That's our worst shot. Actually, a good shot because the plus.
Moving target, so it's +2. So you probably +2 +5 +4. So you need a 4 to hit.
Right. 1 hex away. This guy with a Panzerfaust. I don't know what those counters are. Those counters are awesome. Where are the Panzerfaust counters? I don't know where they are, but I love them.
There's one up top.
There we go. I always love these from starters from squad leader. I love like 18 Panzerfaust. This Panzerfaust 1 hex away because we got the smoke on him makes that a 4. No smoke makes that a what, gentlemen?
Makes it a 6.
Makes it a burning Sherman tank is what it makes it.
7.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, a 7. That's a burning Sherman tank if there's no smoke there. Other than that, it's a 4 and you're just driving by him. So we go 1, 2 for the smoke, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stays in motion, right? Turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
Turn 3 is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's turn 3. Turn 4 is what? Half
Moving
movement
into the wood.
points. How many movement points are we expending there?
Well, you're spending all and have to take a bog check.
Nope,
So you're
we're expending half. We want to expend half because we don't have time to spend all. That's the worst case scenario. We expend half. How many movement points are we expending?
3.
Right, 3.5.
3.5. Yeah.
3.5 in that location. We do our bog check, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna probably roll a 10 here. The 6, we're fine. 4.5, 5, 6, 7. He's off in turn 4. And that's including the shot that we're taking here. 2 tanks can go up to this location, take a ball check, and get off on turn 4. Only because, and none of these players use a strategy. One guy tried to move up a little bit later. I'm not sure if you want to go down here, but don't be afraid to go through the woods. The scenario special rule kind of gives you a hint. When the scenario special rules are on the board, read them and try to understand why they are there. An AFE expending half of its printed movement points when entering woods is considered to have expended all for bog purposes. So why would it give you that clue for woods? Obviously, it's trying to explain that because you only have half that you're there, but it kind of gives you a clue that, maybe you want to go through some woods. Do you want to go through 2? No, you want to go through 1. Simply because when I looked at the scenario, I said, why the hell is the exit location so far high when this is like the closest spot? Well, because you can actually make it on the back side. Is there an AT gun? Most likely going to be on this back side. Probably not, because if you go straight forward, like I think almost all the players did, you're essentially throwing one of your guns out the door. So where would your gun be positioned to defend against that? Probably in one of these 2 locations. Right? This one here shoots down the road. Not a great shot, but it's a shot. And he also fires up in this location. Again, not a great shot. Why is that not a great shot when this tank moves right here?
You only have him in LOS for at most two hexes.
Right. Maybe 2 movement points. If he exits, pops here and comes here, and that's 1, that's going to be 1 movement point. And most likely, what direction are you going to be facing? You're probably going to be facing to the left. And if you're changing covered arc, firing at a moving vehicle with vehicles limited movement points in your LOS, what's the modifier on that bad boy? Let's look it up. Let's look up the modifier because it's very important.
It'll probably be at least going to be +6 if you got to change your covered arc, and then it's another +4 because you're firing at a vehicle that's only been in your line of sight for 1 movement point.
Right, and then you get the range. It's going to be more than 6.
Instead of 10, you now need like a 9.
Yeah, base 9. And when my gun's changing covered arc, that's +6. That makes it a 3. And then 2 for moving makes it a 1. Limited target is in line of sight for less than or equal to 1 movement point. Case J +2. Well, we already got the case J. +2 more. So now you're at a -1. And size makes it a 0. Are you hitting that tank when he's flying by you when you have a gun here that has to change covered arc in woods? You're never hitting. You're never hitting that tank. Never hitting that tank. Really hard for the Germans to defend a strategy like this. Maybe he has to put more squads over here. Maybe it's 2 squads. Maybe the half squad comes over here. Half squad here, full squad here. Or stagger them even more, put them here. I don't know. However you want. I might put the Panzerfaust guy here and then go 2, 4, advance. And that way, we knew where he ended up second, right? Because he was here. He went 1. Actually, you could go like this. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 4, right? Try your smoke. And then stop for 5. You know, because you don't want to get too close to him to give him prep fire shots at you. The next turn, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And guess what? During your turn, after he moved here, you went from here, because you're not going to take that shot, or he smoked you, you go 2, 4, advance, because you know where he's going. And now you get another Panzerfaust shot. You maximize your damage as the Germans. You're not sticking around. You're getting 1 shot, and then you're running. Or maybe 2, because you can use 2 Panzerfausts. And then you're running. And right here, especially, if he ends up right here in motion, you take your 2 shots. Are you staying there? Well, you defensive fire. You go 2, 4, and you catch him on the backside. You're probably going to hit 1 of those shots. It's an okay. Now can he move here and fire another smoke mortar? The American better damn well try that, he better try to fire smoke mortar again, because he's going to die, because that's a 7. That's a 7 to hit if the German pops off a D3. He missed both times. No big deal. But guess what?
Wow.
Where do we end up? We ended up over there. What's the German going to do next turn? 1, 2, 3. Advance. Try for more Panzerfausts. Or maybe even advance here. If you're moving this tank here and this guy's following you, what are you going to do with your turret? Damn it. Oh my god, we're going to kill him. Your turret points backwards. So when he chases you, you're shooting at him. And when he goes point blank, he dies. And there's your Panzerfaust problem. This unit could legit get 3 potential shots on this tank before he's gone. That's something you want to avoid as the Americans. How you defend against that? Covered arc, smoke mortar. Smoke mortar is your #1 defense against him. Why? Because we know he needs a 4 point blank against our motion vehicle. He needs a 4. And we need a 6 when we're moving with a smoke mortar. But he's got machine guns to deal with now, and he's got our 75 to deal with now if we fail the smoke mortar. Most likely he'll break from that. But the Germans are maximizing his advantage. So, but yes, we can get off 2 tanks up here. And those are the 2 tanks we need to, if this is our plan, what is the usage of these tanks down here?
To guard them.
Overwatch. Yeah.
Well, these tanks are going to be kind of like free, right? These are free tanks. These are 2 tanks that we're required to get off. These guys are going off. Do we need to get these tanks off?
Don't need them.
Don't need them. We just need infantry. What's the easiest way to get them off? You blast the living shit out of anything's in your line of sight, and you smoke them. You just blow them up. You just use your 3 tanks down here, and you just blow them up. Can you afford to lose a tank? Absolutely. Absolutely, because these guys are getting off. If you've reached that point where this guy's broken, up at the top, if he sends a guy back there, mind you, if he's broken, these tanks are all expendable. Can it be easier to get them off? Absolutely, but they're only 3 points. A squad and a leader is 4 points. A squad and a leader is all we need to get off. We only need 8-1 and 666 to make his way there. Everybody else is going to die to get the 8-1 and 666 to get off, because we already have our other 6 points accounted for. And so we blast everything. We bait. Well, may not bait, but the jumbo is going to be the heavy hitter. He's the heavy lifter in this one. The guns can't deal with him up front. And if he drops white phosphorus on him all day, then when you drop white phosphorus, this tank then, if there's a gun, where's the gun? I need a gun. I'm tired of not looking at a gun. 75. Let's say we got a gun here. Clone him. Let's see other guns over here. All right. We white phosphorus this guy. We just get a counter because it's prettier. Or just, oh, that's infantry smoke. I think I'll mind. Oh, there we go. We counter smoke this guy. I think we got a white phosphorus. I think I modified them. But anyway, let's say it's white phosphorus over there. What do we do then? We have 1 tank. 1 tank fired smoke here, 1 tank fired smoke here. And assuming we have the other tank, the shitty tank, the 8 armor tank, moves behind him. Oh, it's a wreck. So I'm just going to clone this guy. Moves behind him. Is this AT gun ever going to hit that tank? In reaction fire.
Where it is right now, probably not. No, not very likely.
If he has to switch 2, never going to hit him. If he switches 2, that's +8 to hit. He's in smoke, and we're moving. He switches 2, +8, +4 for smoke, +2 for that. I can't even count. I need a calculator for all this crap. He's never going to hit that guy. And let's say he ends up here. He prep fires on us. What does he need to hit prep fire? And we're stopped. So he has the best of all situations. What does he need to hit us in prep fire phase?
For smoke and big.
Who's hitting who?
The AT gun in smoke is firing on our tank that pulled behind him because we didn't do anything to him.
Approximate.
What does the German need to hit this guy in prep fire phase?
Well, it's going to be base 10
and
minus 2 point blank.
Okay.
Point blank. The
Plus
big
4 minus 1. So
9.
All right. So we got the benefits are the 10, 12 for point blank, 13 for size, and then minus 4 for smoke. It's a 9.
9.
That's not, I mean, is that great? No, but it's the best of all situations, and that's the worst situation for us. Now, what else does this gun have to deal with other than just this one tank? What else does he have to deal with? Well,
Got to deal with the squad there.
yeah, the 2 or 3 squads that are kind of coming up on him too, right? Do we as the Americans care that that's plus 3 smoke there? If we have this sort of situation, no, that's 16 plus 5. We don't care. That would be a 5 for morale check. And let's say he blows this tank up. Again, we have our 2 tanks there. We just get closer, and then he just dies. There's no way he's surviving, because what happens when he blows that tank up? He's got to turn the gun again. Is he going to hit us? Absolutely not. At this point, we're point blank fire on him. Just those 2 squads right there is 24 plus 5. That should generate at least a 1 morale check or a normal morale check. That's all we really want. If we pin him, now we have our secondary leader. We have this leader and this leader. Both of those have an opportunity to go alpha now. Again, only because if you send 2 tanks up here, most likely he's going to have 1 squad that's probably going to try and deal with him. So that's less pressure off here. Yes, we have to deal with the medium and the light machine gun, but we know with the American firepower and with cautious advance and smoking, I think we can handle that. The AT guns are the big ones. The AT guns, you need to find out where they are, because you don't want to lose your tanks early. Once these guys are safe, then you can just, hell yeah, at that point you can just charge them. Or just move the tanks off. Let them take his shots. Once your infantry's in the clear, just move the tanks. Because he's going to fire at the tanks. Move a tank if he wants to blow it up, that's fine. Or move the infantry first if it's clear. Because you're smoke. You know, this infantry might go 1, 2, drop smoke. Die roll. There it is. There's the American smoke. 1, 2, 3. And guess what? 4. Next squad behind him. 1, 2. Drop smoke there. And then he's done. That's 4. Now we've got some smoke screens over here. With this gun here, now this guy can move behind him. 1, 2, 3. If he wants to fire once he exits the smoke, what's he got to do? Change covered arc. Never going to hit him. If this guy is facing this way, and you drop smoke there, and you move here, change his covered arc, never going to hit him. Well, he might need a 4. Not very good. Same 4 we had over here with our Panzerfaust. And he's got to change covered arc. Is that good for this gun? No, because when he first fires, what happens when the smoke dissipates? Americans fire, assault, and then advance phase up here. Well, first of all, they're going to assault fire at 8 firepower plus 2, and then the advance phase. And this guy might, this guy might be back here, something like that. And now this gun is just gone. This gun is just gone next turn. I mean, he might get ready to fire once, maybe, but this guy might be a little bit closer. So, again, firepower. Use what your advantages are. What are your advantages for the Germans? You have 2 guns that are hidden. The Americans have no clue where they are, or they might have a clue. You know where some decent spots are where you would defend. Firepower. Why do I have 3 different types of Shermans? I've got the cheap 11s, I've got the 8, and I've got the 18. That's another thing you need to look at. Why do I have 3 different types of Shermans? Why were Shermans in that one German scenario, well, the Russian scenario, well, Sherman marches to west or whatever, obviously Sherman, haha. But why do the Russians have Shermans in that tank, that scenario of Sherman's marches west or east or wherever the hell it is, when they normally have T-34s? That should show up red flags, because the Shermans have something to give to the scenario. What does an 8 tank give to the scenario? Easy shot. Maybe that's the bait. He's the guy that's an 8. I know it's an 8. He's the easy one to kill. Let's kill him first. Are we going to kill the 18? We're going to fire on the 18? Not at all. He parks right here and he blows up every single hex that he thinks a gun's in. And then the infantry, if he misses, the infantry are firing at the ones that he misses at. We need to find at least one gun. And when that gun's gone, at that point, we're just running and dropping smoke. We go 1, 2, 3, drop smoke on herself. This guy goes 1, 2, 3, drop smoke on herself. This guy goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, drop smoke on himself. Just in case. Just get used to dropping smoke. Smoke pots, smoke mortars, smoke pots, whatever. It's free. If that SM, the first thing I look at American vehicles, I want to see what type of smoke they got. You know, this 8 armored tank, garbage. Smoke mortar, 4. If he stopped, it's 4. It's not bad. I mean, it's nothing great, but it's there. I mean, it's better than nothing. Snake Eyes is a smoke thing. He still has white phosphorus 7 and smoke 5. That's still just as strong as the rest of them. He is a smoke generator. 18 is the assault gun. He parks in the front. He could park here. That's a safe spot. Maybe from here. P3 might be a danger, but that would be a fun spot to put it. One of the Russian players put a gun over here in P3 later on. It's pretty interesting. But that's a pretty safe spot. And now this gun's point blank. That's -1 because it's point blank fire. And you drop smoke. But the smoke is the key. Even 10 times more than Sherman marches west. Smoke mortar. All these guys have smoke mortars. All of them have white phosphorus 7. All of them have smoke 5. Not great smoke 5, but the white phosphorus is the key. And say 18.
Important technique was dispensing the smoke mortar is the dispense the smoke mortar before the movement.
Yes.
Because the original SM number is 8. It means that 72% of dispensing the smoke. But after moving, they are decreased to the 40%. So our stopping position of the tank is very significant, I believe.
Right. I think again, if you move the tank, now it says a moving vehicle. The problem, moving / non-stop. In the SK rules, the problem I have with that is there's motion vehicles, there's moving vehicles, and stopped and non-stopped vehicles. Those are all different things. When it describes a moving vehicle, it's not in motion. So, but I don't know if it's moving as in terms of it's moved, because you're not considered moving tank until you enter another hex. So if I'm here. If I'm here and I start my movement phase and I fire the smoke mortar, I need an 8 because I'm not moving. If I'm stopped here and it is my movement phase and I say movement phase, smoke mortar here, I need an 8 because I am not a moving vehicle because I have not entered a hex and I have not expended a start movement point. That would be an 8 to drop smoke mortars at that point. But even if you are moving, it's a 6, which isn't horrible because it's free. But there's a difference between the moving and non-stopped. So if we started our tank, now we're non-stopped. So therefore now you get the +2. So it's a very subtle difference, very subtle difference. And so your smokes is just going off like crazy. Again, Even if we move over here and our tank blows up here, do we care that this AT gun blew up this tank if our infantry are ready to move? Obviously, it's moving. Next turn, we could run by there. What does that tank then give us? Hindrance. It gives us cover if we move into it, or it gives us a hindrance if we move behind it. Either way, it's essentially equivalent. You know, so at this point, that little cheap tank, you could actually use him as a get to a spot, you know, drive up next to the guy to maximize his effect on that tank of him being hindered. And then you can just move your infantry behind him. Now, essentially, they're moving through +1 hindrance. Every little modifier can help. Just like you pointed out, Shinji, just like you pointed out, the smoke mortar, just like if you're not moving, it's 8. Big difference, 72% versus like a 45%. Every little bit helps. Smoke mortar guys with Panzerfausts, you know, if they don't have the smoke on him, he needs a 7 to hit us. If he does have a smoke on it, he needs a 4 to hit us. It goes from like a 53 to a 25%. You just cut his possibility in half. At a range of 1. Is he going to hit us at a range of 2? No, that's a snake eyes. If he smoked, that's a snake eyes. If not worse. So he's not going to hit you. The smoke mortars is key. Smoke mortars is key, and you definitely really need to see this. You know, the first thing I saw on this thing is loads of open ground. Next thing, weird exit location. Just weird. Why do I need to go up there? Why isn't it just like off the road? Just go off the road. That's pretty simple. Why the hell is it up top? These are subtle clues when you're reading your scenario card that you can glean from it. And, you know, scenario special rule. Half of it's printed MP when entering woods. That might be a hint. That might be a hint. Might be a hint. So, lots of things happen. This seems like a very simple, very basic scenario. 4.5 turns, you say, oh, this is no big deal. You could play this one like 5 or 6 times in a day. Easy. It's probably a 2.5 hour scenario. Right? 5 or 6 times you could pop this bad boy off. Try different strategies. Try your smoke mortars and just, you know, whatever. And send all your tanks up top. If you send all your tanks up top, if his guns are down here, you probably just won the game by just driving all your tanks top. You just won the game. The game is over on turn 2. You know, because he says, well, shit, I can't get there. At that point, all of his guys have to run back here and pretty much just stand at the opening, and you're just going to shoot him down with machine guns while you roll over their dead bodies as you're going off the board. That's about it. That's about it. Because that's what's going to happen. Because he can't shoot you from here, and most of the guys don't put their guns up here. We saw what happened. We looked at 3 games. All the guns were down here. Because nobody looked at the back door because of this weird thing here. This thing just threw up red flags to me. It's like, why so far up? If I'm moving up here, I'm just moving here. Why am I going up here? I don't need to. But then I saw the road. Then I saw this, and then I saw the entry hex right here. It's like, let's see if we can move that. And sure enough, we can move that. With every tank except for maybe the 12 tank. And again, John, the 12 tank is going to be the guy in the front down here. He's not moving anyway.
Yeah.
He's staying right there. He's not going to be affected by any of the AT gun. Hell, he can sit up here, and now he avoids the hindrances from that. And now he blasts every single one of these hexes are in his line of sight. Every single one of them. Hell, maybe even this building. This is a sweet spot for that jumbo. Those are all front shots. I don't care what angle I don't care where the German sets up his gun. Those are all front shots. That thing is not getting scratched. And he's dropping smoke, white phosphorus all game long. Smoke mortar, 3 hexes. 3 hexes. 3 hexes. Wherever he wants to drop smoke mortar, he's dropping it. So, very subtle scenario. I was extremely surprised. And only because the 18 showed up, only because Shinji and Craig were here, we just kind of chit-chat. We just bullshitting. It's like, oh, wait, that guy's 18 armor. Let's see what type of to kill things are. I just discovered that today. I've done previews on all these things like 3 or 4 times each already for that past week and a half. I never even saw the 18 until we started talking about it. Never saw it. Never saw it, gentlemen. Has anyone ever played this scenario before? No
I
It's
Vanilla.
have
on my
not.
list, but I haven't played it yet. No.
Okay. Craig, did you solo this one by any time? Did you solo this one?
No.
Okay. So, yeah, knowing what you know now, I mean that left-hand flank up top looks like a free win to me. If you guys get this in a tournament, ask your opponent, say, how many times have you played this scenario? Oh, I haven't played it all. You'll probably just should put a mark in the win column and just, go up the top side. You don't even have to roll to hit. You don't have to worry about Mark rolling his 9s.
Yeah, there you go.
You just drive. You just keep driving. You just, driving in the summer. If the guns are changing cover arc, they're hitting any tank. In woods. So keep that in mind, gentlemen. When you're changing cover arc with AT guns that are non-turreted, you're screwing yourself. A gun in H1 is far superior than a gun in that woods. Because one, he's got to have point blank shots. And most of the time they're there. And two, you can swivel with only a +3. You can actually hit something there. You can actually hit something with a 1 swivel or 2. Woods, +6. Good luck with that. It's just not happening.
Yeah. Well,
No.
you could get lucky, roll a 1 on your colored die, get another shot.
Right. Now, gentlemen, this is what I did in my game this weekend. Okay? Your prep fire phase. Let's say this guy's over here. Your prep fire phase. Oh, nope. Wrong tank. Where's that shit tank? Oh, I think I blew it up. Sorry about that. All right. That's assuming he's got 8 armor. He's killable. Essentially, he's a killable tank. Even with 11 armor, that's a 6 for immobilization or shock. Prep fire phase. What do you do with this gun? He does not have acquisition on you. And let's say he's
First
buttoned
thing
up.
you do is change the CA.
Do you fire at him? To get acquisition or whatever. Possible rate of fire. Well, your rate of fire is going to be a 1. Do you fire at this unit in the prep fire phase?
Yeah, I'd want the acquisition.
Anybody else is going to fire on this guy in the prep fire phase?
I'm assuming by prep fire phase, you mean the German prep fire phase.
Correct.
Okay.
Because you can't swivel in his prep fire phase, right? That'd be defensive fire.
Right.
Let me get something else that might help you. So is anyone else going to fire in the prep fire phase? You have 8 morale, right? What do you need to hit him in the prep fire phase if you spin around?
If you spin around, you're probably going to need like a 3 or 4 or something along those lines.
Right. Let's see. If you spin 2 hex sides, if you spin 1 hex side, it's +6.
Yep. The second one would be +8, +7 because he's a big tank. So it's probably a 3.
Right. So let's take, for instance, you only change it. Well, if you change it twice, you're never going to hit him. Well, let's say you change it twice anyway. Let's change it. Say you change it 3 times. We're never going to hit him, right? Don't fire. What's he need to hit us? We are infantry that are emplaced. And if he's buttoned up, what does he need to hit us with his main gun?
His base is an 8, 6, 5.
5. It's not too good, is it?
No.
Okay. And his machine guns are going to be 6+2 because he's buttoned up. 6+2, we take that all day. Why? Because we're 8 morale. We laugh that off. Just like we laughed it off in the last thing with the demo charges. We laughed that off. We have 8 morale. What do we need to hit him now in the advanced fire phase? He fires at us and he gets like a pin task check, normal morale check. We laugh it off. And he has an acquisition on us now.
Oh, so he fires. All right. So you fire in the advancing fire phase. Now you are. Well, now you're only +2, -1. So now you need a 9.
A 9 to hit a tank that we can destroy. Don't fire in the prep fire phase. You'll never hit him. If you're good enough defense, if he's got infantry firepower of 16, if that's like a whirlwind or something like that, you probably just shit out of luck anyway. But
So you're not. So in the prep fire phase, if you spin around, you're not considered to have fired.
nope, because you could change your covered arc as long as you have the ability to fire. You spin him around. And in the advanced fire phase is when you actually fire. You're giving up first fire opportunities or prep fire opportunities to get shot at first. Now you're firing the advanced fire phase, right? Because us moving, that does not prep fire you.
But that gets you the case 1 modifier, doesn't it?
The case 1, which is
Firing
what?
in the advanced fire phase.
Correct.
Right.
That's +2. It's much better than +8.
Not +8, yeah.
The +8, the cover arc change is what we're avoiding. Especially since we're defensible. He's got machine guns. Machine guns shouldn't have any effect on us whatsoever. His gun needs a 5 to hit. Even if his gun hits, what do we have on this vehicle? On this vehicle? We have a gun shield. The gun shield applies on that shot because the gun shield is facing him. He has to eat the +2 because we're in place, and then we get the gun shield from his 12 attack. So he rolls his 12 attack. Let's say he rolls a 5 to hit. Misses. 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 There's a 5. He rolls a 12. Now he's got to roll an effect. There's a 4. Let's take a 4. 4 + 2. 6. 2 morale check. That's probably the worst effect that he's going to have on us. A 2 morale check. Let's say he pins us. We don't want to break. We want to get a 6. We roll a 6. Anyway, we roll a 6. Let's say he pins us.
Right.
He actually
Now
gets
it's
a
an additional +2, so still much better than +8.
Right. Now we do 7 to hit. He just got destroyed. The hit destroyed. With a pinned unit in the advanced fire phase. We just hit and destroyed that unit. Keep that in mind with your AT guns, gentlemen. If you like to put them in woods, I don't. Sometimes you have almost no choice. Like in this scenario here. There's really almost no other place you could put the gun but in a woods or an open ground. Technically, you could put it in open ground. It doesn't really matter because you're placed anyway. But as long as they come in the line of sight, you'll be exposed. But if you want to put them in woods, and if you have prep fire, and you don't have a whole bunch of squads that are going to break you, right? If you're still pretty well protected, you don't have a whole ton of squads that are going to blast you anyway. You know, if these guys aren't there, and if you're only dealing with a tank and like maybe a squad with 6 firepower or something like that, swivel, wait for the advanced fire phase. Wait for the advanced fire phase. Do you get acquisition when you fire them on the advanced fire phase?
Yeah, during the advanced fire phase.
Yeah. Even if you miss, you get a shot on him. Well, what's he have to do? His turn. If he starts, well, now you have a -1. You're certainly not going to miss him there. So he has to fire on you again with the same 5. Well, probably needs a 6 to hit because he's got an acquisition on you from his 5. Now he needs a 6 to hit. Not great. Not great. And then he's got his machine guns again. 6 + 2. We laugh at those. We laugh at a 6 + 2 machine. There you go. 8, 9, 10. Ha ha ha. Good hell, American. You know? Fires to hit. 9. Miss. Okay, now he's got a -2 acquisition. Do we care? Oops. No. Because now we need a 10 to hit him with our 1 acquisition. There you go. Boom. To kill. Still blows up. Even if we missed him the first time. We have the advantage. Hugely the advantage there. Be interesting. But anyway, look at it. Just don't go on. It's like routing, gentlemen. Don't go on autopilot and routing like we saw in some of the examples. Autopilot the whole way back. He low crawled over here, autopilot the whole way back. Go to your leaders, go to where your leaders can go. Go past R1. Go past and go further towards your objective. You know, stuff like that. Don't just look at it willy-nilly. You have to focus on what you need to do in the game. Always focus on the game winning conditions and how you can achieve those by low crawling, by assault moving, by CXing, by baiting a shot with a tank, anything. Pick all the pieces of the puzzle and start on the edge Make it easy, and then work your way inside for the hard stuff. And then you'll see more success, or at least a lot more fun. You may not see success all the time, but you'll see a lot more fun because you've tried something and it almost worked. You know, those are the best parts. It's like, I was up against the wall, but I tried this really funky thing and it almost worked. But it was kind of off the cuff. And that's where the real fun begins with ASL, is when you start using stuff, you're solid with your basic rules. Now then you go to the next step. And you pick up a little thing here and there, and you just incorporate that into the game. And that's it. Right? Like the bazooka, right? The bazooka?
Just looking at the starter kit rules here, it says heat can only be used against infantry and buildings or against guns and vehicles.
There you go. Cool. So that's used for this. Another use against a gun.
Bazookas can fire at the guns.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another reason. So again, that's a question. Well, right, look at this. Why is there one bazooka here? Well, if you lost a couple tanks, that guy could just run up and potentially get a kill shot on the infantry. So anyway, that's it, gentlemen. It's a good session, surprising session. I thought it was just kind of go over some games, but I thought it was pretty good overall in terms of just kind of like peeling stuff apart. I learned a lot from this one here, and it's just breaking it down. Just takes a couple seconds. You know, you got to do a little bit of math. Do a little bit of math, and you'll say, "Oh, he can't hit me at all. I'm flying right by him. Flying right by him." So, all right, gentlemen, thanks for coming, and
All right, then.
we'll see you next week. I hope to see you guys.
As always, Stu.
I'll drop in on your games and harass you in those. So,
There you go.
well, there we go. Peeled apart another scenario, looking at the very specific details of our OB specific tanks, what they have to offer, what we can expect from them, hopefully. Having to deal with low morale, having to overcome it. The German setup, I think, can be very dynamic, simply because as you play this game more strategies can crack open. So therefore, it's like a shell game. You know, where am I going to hide my units? Where's the best place to get them? I want to get a flank shot. Maybe you got to hide them back by the exit. Don't know. Be very interesting to kind of see the different setups that can happen. Maybe let's see what happens if all the Germans set up way at the exit, just sitting and waiting. It takes the Americans 3 turns to get there. I'm just sitting and waiting for you. Let's go. Bring it on, baby. You know, that would be a crazy, interesting game to play. Just to throw a wrench in the Americans' space, you know. New games of the month are up. SK1, SK3. ASL tournament is still going on. We're doing rounds and rounds. We're doing reviews of those specific games. If you want to participate in that, yeah, go for it. I have no problem. But game of the month is ready. Go to this ASL scenario archive. Look at the game of the month, what's listed. Join the ASL Skills Discord server. We're posting all the information there in the appropriate rooms, and lots of information is being thrown back and forth on these sessions. So thanks a lot, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoy your games going on, and that's it for this Tactical Tuesday. Have a great day.